Jimmy was not a rapper then.
Right.
He was your man, like on the side, like in the side, just he was not a rapper at all.
Right.
So when Ballin' took place, and I'm looking and I'm going, oh, he having a moment. That's the Lloyd Banks. It's Lloyd Banks thing.
50 Cent just locked in on Jim Jones, and this one's turning ugly fast. Jim lit the fuse by taking shots at Nas on Fat Joe and Jadakiss's podcast, claiming he's a better rapper and done more for the culture than Nas ever could. That's insane talk. 50 fired back, saying, I just seen The Breakfast Club. Jimmy popping off, talking that Gucci boo talk. Mocking the whole We Gucci vibe like it's some clown act. Especially while coming from someone who once looked up to Nas like a hero. So what made Jim switch up like that? And is Jay-Z quietly the one pulling the strings here? Because 50 ain't calling it random. He's calling Jim a straight-up Jay-Z puppet. And honestly, the timeline's mad suspicious. For years, Jim was clowning Nas and Have, dragging their names through the mud in every interview he could.
He wanted that. He was watching them be that, like Mace be that and Cam be that, and looked at, and it was finally, he had one.
Mm-hmm.
And I just looked, and I knew, I just took the shot, Murder, to see, because I wasn't sure he was going to go for it. But I was like, we like Jimmy better than you anyway, Cam. Then you got to watch and see how he responds. And then, when you see, he like, oh, he really like that. Like, give me this, give me Jimmy. Yeah, tell him we want you at the show, Jimmy. Yeah, but that was one of those things I just threw it out and see what. And then when he bit to it, because it was like he was having a moment that not sure that was going to ever happen again at that point. And then he's going, for them, they had records that where, look, I always said it's to certain artists, I go, damn, when is he going to have his moment? Like, fast.
Then out of nowhere, he's calling Jay-Z his big bro like they've been tight forever. That flip looks shady. No lie. So let's rewind to where this whole mess really started. Jim sat down with Fat Joe and Jadakiss to talk recent hits, and Joe brought up the wild comparisons online. The younger crowd claiming Jim's done more for hip-hop than Nas. That was Jim's chance to stay humble, maybe pay respect. But instead, he laughed and said, these new kids don't even know Nas. Then doubled down, bragging that his influence runs way deeper. Like, bro, what? Now, let's not get it twisted.
Recently saw a clip on Instagram where a young kid was comparing you to Nas and saying that you got
that's my young boy.
big hits. Yo, he looked to you. He learned how to wear the BB Simon belt from you. He got his swag. Like, how crazy is that? Because in my era, you know what I'm saying? Nas is like a god.
In my era too. I mean,
so to be compared,
let me
that young kid out.
Let me.
He was young, and we loved that he loved Jim Jones. I want you to break this down.
Let's break this down. I admired Nas, but remember Nas' first record, The Barbecue, came out when I was in 11th grade.
Dipset had their time. They shaped an era, no question. But Jim, he didn't even mention the Diplomats while bragging about his legacy. He made it sound like he single-handedly carried Harlem on his back. You could literally see Jadakiss's face drop like he just heard the most delusional take of the year. Then Jim tried to clean it up, talking about how Nas was his idol growing up, the wordplay, the music, the whole vibe. But then he flipped it, saying once he got in the game, idols became rivals. He said, I developed my own style, a lane these kids gravitate toward the same way I gravitated toward Nas. Then he went off about generations, like, it's 2025, man. These 22-year-olds don't even know who Nas is. Bro, that's not the flex you think it is. You didn't have to say it. Your silence could have done the job. Everyone knows Nas is a certified legend. Meanwhile, Jim didn't start getting real respect until Ballin' hit the charts. The same dude who was hyped just to meet Nas last year is now saying he's a better artist? That's not confidence. That's straight ego. Jadakiss stayed composed, but his face said everything. And you already know every big name in hip-hop saw that clip. But Jim wasn't done. He doubled down. He said he could out-rap Nas. Better bars, sharper flow, more impact, more relevance, the whole nine. Like he really believes is standing toe-to-toe with one of the greatest lyricists to ever touch a MIC. Then Jim had the audacity to say, I'm more relevant now than Nas has ever been. That's not confidence, that's pure chaos. To back it up, he started flashing numbers like a defense attorney, Billboard charts, Spotify streams, viral hits, top albums, trying to turn analytics into armor. But the internet wasn't having it. Nas fans pulled receipts faster than a Wi-Fi connection.
The comparisons and then Nick be trying to act funny when it comes. No, I've been spanking a lot of this. I'm talking about the industry. I've been putting on. So let's not get into that where we get into numbers and I gotta show you the statistics of what I've done. You heard to what other people was done. You heard them. You wanna go to the Billboard entries, pull up Nas Billboard entries, and pull up my Billboard entries.
Listen, we can't compare the two. What I'm trying to tell you is
I wanna go there.
Hold on.
I wanna go down the line now, because now we going down the line. He's a rapper and I'm a rapper.
Listen,
no, let's go statistically.
It feels great.
No, but I wanna go statistically, because when people be like,
I feel the same way. We all feel the same way.
And forget about the numbers. My numbers back up.
Let me step up to the fore.
They flooded comments, reposted stats, and torched Jim for disrespecting a man who's been dropping timeless classics since before Jim even had a record deal. Let's keep it a buck. Jim, bro, lyrically, you're not seeing Nas. You can't even stand in the same lane. This ain't about swag or Gucci fits. This is about pen game, legacy, and mastery. The fans said it best. You've got charisma. Sure, but Nas built kingdoms of verses while you were still chasing club anthems. And now, the guy who says bowling made him immortal is trying to rewrite hip-hop history? Come on, bro. That's delusion disguised as bravado. And let's not pretend this beef just appeared out of nowhere. This tension been simmering since the early 2000s. Back when Nas clowned Dipset and even mocked Cam'ron Come Home With Me, calling it trash. Cam fired back over the Hate Me Now beat, and just like that, a full-on war erupted. Harlem versus Queens, Pride versus Legacy. But here's where things get wild. While Dipset was going at Nas, Jim was also beefing with Jay-Z. So how'd he go from beefing with Hov to possibly working under him? Jay used to clown Jim publicly, and things got ugly fast. The real tension hit when Jay refused to make Cam'ron the vice president of Roc-A-Fella. That move sparked an all-out war between Harlem and Hov. Jim rode hard for Cam, and that loyalty kicked off one of the nastiest rivalries in New York rap. Fast forward to now, and suddenly Jim's praising Jay-Z while dissing Nas, the same two men he spent decades throwing shots at.
Like that.
I've heard you say that.
Since the barbecue and things like that, like he really put the whole dope boy rap, crack hustler, get fresh rap into perspective before anybody else. Before I heard Jay do it, before I heard anybody else, like he changed the cadence of rap into a whole different steam. Like he's the one that broke the camel's back when it came to artists like, to me, when it came to artists like Big Daddy Kane and all these artists that came right before him. Like after Nas came with that, they started to fade out, and then Jay, Fat Joe, like all of these rappers that are spitting about the life that we was really starting to live right now and how it was changing. Like this is, you know what I mean? So that's how I felt about that whole.
The switch up is wild. He's out here saying, check my track record, check the Billboard charts, and compare it to theirs, like he's proving something. But the numbers tell a different story. Jim's got 9 Billboard 200 entries, 3 in the top 10, and 0 number ones. Nas? 27 entries, 16 top 10 albums, and 6 number 1 projects. That's not even a debate. That's a career resume versus a highlight reel. Jim keeps saying, I'm still rapping at a high capacity in 2025, challenging Nas to step in the booth. And yeah, some say Jim's been dropping solid work lately, but comparing his momentum to Nas's legacy, that's reaching for the moon without a rocket. Nas isn't chasing hits. He's cemented in history. And here's where it gets interesting. This flip isn't random. There's something strategic behind it. Jim and Cam'ron always believed Roc-A-Fella used Harlem style to look cool, then tossed them aside once they got what they wanted. Remember, it was Dame Dash who brought them into the circle, not Jay. But when Jay took control, they swore he froze them out, like he wanted to erase Harlem's glow. Jim never held back about it either. He called Jay soft, said he wasn't connected to the streets, and accused him of shutting Harlem out of the rock. And this wasn't just rap talk. Jim took that beef straight to the streets. On December 22nd, 2008, Jim Jones got into a full-on brawl at a Louis Vuitton store in Manhattan, and the man he fought just happened to be one of Jay-Z's close friends and business partners. That wasn't some random scuffle. That was personal. Jim later pleaded guilty to misdemeanor assault, and that fight became proof that his beef with Hov ran way deeper than rap. Industry folks laugh it off as hip-hop competition, but truthfully, there was real smoke behind those bars. People said Jim wasn't even on the same level, just the loudest guy on the bench yelling at Jordan, trying to get notice. But here's where it flips. After all that animosity, years of clowning Jay publicly, Jim folded.
Jim Jones went on Fat Joe and Jadakiss's. Oh, look, a topic in a topic. Yeah. He went on Fat Joe and Jadakiss's podcast and had a lot to say about some dude on the internet that said Jim Jones is better than Nas and has more Billboard hits.
As a young kid, I think I believe he was like 23 or something, 22, 23. And he was saying that for his generation, his era, they don't look at Nas. And a lot of people took offense to that. I personally did not take offense just because of the kid's age, of the generation. It's like a sports conversation.
Like the numbers are the numbers. But in New York City, with rappers, we don't necessarily go by that.
Yes, Travis Scott is the bigger act, more hits, more numbers, more. But to the rappers, don't nobody give a about what Travis Scott.
Straight up crawled back to the same man he'd been dissing for decades. The same guy he once called soft was now his career lifeline. That's why the streets called Jim untrustworthy. He'll switch sides whenever the heat turns up. Loyalty? He treats it like an allergy. And that's exactly why 50 Cent never respected him. Because to 50, Jim's that dude who talks tough till the power shifts. Then suddenly, he's looking for new allies. See, 50's got history with this man. Back in the G-Unit versus Dipset era, Jim shocked everyone when he showed up at a G-Unit event after 50 invited him. People thought it was a power move, but 50 was just setting him up. He brought Jim out not to sign him, but to expose him. It was chess, not charity. 50 wanted to prove Jim would do anything for attention, even betray his own camp. And when there was no deal, no contract, just humiliation, that moment cemented Jim as someone with no code. Fast forward, 50 and Jay-Z have been in a quiet Cold War for years. So when Jim ran back to Roc Nation begging for a deal, that was it. He officially became 50's enemy. The second that Roc Nation contract hit, 50 could smell the politics. He even said he got left out of the NFL ad Jay helped organize, claiming they still had bad blood from past. Jay supposedly told NOIE that the white boy wouldn't do the show without 50, meaning Eminem demanded 50's inclusion. That's when 50 started clowning Jay, calling him fake, saying he modeled himself after a gay painter, mocking everything from his style to his silence. And guess what? Right after all that tension reignited, Jim suddenly started throwing slick shots at Nas again. Coincidence? 50 doesn't think so, not for a second. He's convinced Jay's using Jim as a pawn in his ongoing chess match with Nas. It's classic Jay-Z, move quiet, let someone else swing. And 50, he saw right through it. The moment he caught wind of Jim's new alliance with Jay, he went straight to Instagram, doing what he does best, clowning him publicly. Memes, captions, jokes, the works. 50 called Jim the industry's favorite puppet, saying Jay's got him doing the dirty work is too rich to touch himself. And 50 wasn't just trolling, he was dead serious this time. He reminded everyone that Jay's been playing this game for decades, using other people to swing while he keeps his hands clean. According to 50, this whole Nas situation is just the latest episode in Jay's long-running strategy. He said it plain. Jim's doing Jay's bidding while pretending he's calling shots. Brutal. The internet ate that up instantly. Fans started digging up old clips of Jim praising Nas, calling him one of the greatest ever, even crediting Nas for inspiring his grind. Those interviews went viral overnight. Suddenly everyone's like, wait, so which Jim are we getting today? The Nas fan or the Nas hater? And just like that, the whole act crumbled. The memes flooded in, people clowning Jim for flip-flopping like a politician during election week. Meanwhile, Nas? Unbothered. Not a single post, not a single subliminal. Man's too busy dropping timeless bars, stacking Grammys, and living like a king while Jim's out here fishing for attention. And 50? is having the time of his life. Every few days he throws another jab, sometimes subtle, sometimes direct, but always surgical. He even said, Jim's the kind of guy who does a legend just to get his boss's attention. Cold. Then it got darker. Rumors started swirling that Roc Nation's PR team actually wanted Jim to stir the pot with Nas, that it was part of a strategy to generate buzz. Because let's be real, controversy equals clicks, streams, and headlines. And Jay? He's a master of controlling narratives without ever stepping in the mud. If 50's theory is true, Jim's just another pawn in Jay's chess game. And worse, a disposable one. But 50 being 50, he didn't stop there. He started leaking old behind-the-scenes stories, moments where Jim allegedly begged for features, begged for meetings, only to get curbed by the very people he idolized. His ripping apart that street boss image piece by piece, exposing the desperation behind the designer shades. What started as rap drama has now turned into a full-blown war over pride, legacy, and credibility. Jim's out here trying to prove he belongs among legends, but every move he makes just hands 50 more ammo. And at this point, it's not even about music anymore. It's about survival in an industry that never really crowned him in the first place. 50 said it best, and it still hits like truth wrapped in steel. A real boss keeps his hands clean, even when he does doubt. That one line sums up how the entire game really moves. Jay-Z's mastered that philosophy better than anyone. On the surface, his calm, composed, untouchable, the businessman with $1 billion grin. But behind that slick demeanor, he's calculating every single move like a chess grandmaster. From borrowing Biggie's blueprint to freezing out his own Rockefeller brothers, Jay learned early that real power doesn't shout, it whispers. He's not just playing the game, he owns it. Just look at the pattern. He iced out Dame Dash, made sure Cameron couldn't shine too bright, and now he's got Jim Jones out here reigniting old beef with Nas, while Jay sits back smooth as ever, pretending his hands are clean. That's classic Hov. Let everyone else get messy while he walks off spotless with a bag. It's ruthless, no doubt, but it's also genius. And that's exactly why 50 Cent doesn't rock with either of them. Loyalty's everything to him, and Jay or Jim, they don't live by that code. That's why 50 rides for Eminem the way he does. M's been solid since day one, no flip-flopping, no industry politics. When the rumor dropped that Jay tried to block 50 from performing at the Super Bowl halftime show, it was Eminem who stood tall and said, if 50 ain't performing, I'm not performing either. That's loyalty, the kind money can't buy. And that's what separates real from fake in this game. Because fame fades, streams dry up, trends die out. But respect? That's forever. Jim might be making noise right now, but Nas built the foundation he's standing on. You can't troll your way into greatness. You earn it through time, consistency, and legacy. So now it's on you. Whose side are you riding with in this wild saga? Team 50? Team Nas? Or do you actually think Jim's standing on business? Hit that like button, drop your take in the comments, share this with your people, and don't forget to subscribe. Because trust me, this story, it's far from over.